Hey everyone, geophysicist Stefan Burns here, back with another live stream as it relates to this magnitude 8.8 megaquake that struck the Kamchatka Peninsula, Russia today. This is July 29th, 2025. That occurred at 23:24 UTC. So it's already July 30th for them, but it is July 29th for the Hawaiian Islands, where there is a tsunami watch, a warning, an alert. We are expected to have a tsunami impact the Hawaiian Islands from this magnitude 8.8 megaquake imminently as the sun goes down. So in this video, this live stream, we are just going to watch what happens with this impact, go over some of what's happened, look through the tsunami alerts, just give you the latest updates, and then see how this actually comes in, because it's expected for this to arrive at 7:17 p.m. Local time for Hawaii. And you can see that that's coming up very, very soon. It's 10 p.m. effectively here right now in California. We're 3 hours ahead. So expected time right here, we see right there, 6:58 p.m. local time for Hawaii. So just in about 20 minutes, this is expected to come in. Will that be exactly right on? We don't know. We may have to wait a little bit longer. It may come in a little bit sooner. The expected wave height is a little bit ambiguous. So like 1 to 3 meters is kind of some of the ideas out there. And it is high tide. So high tide is at 7:03 p.m. For Oahu. That's right now. And that is 1.51 feet. So we're going to go through that data. This 8.8 megaquake is actually very similar, almost identical to the magnitude 9 earthquake that occurred in 1952, which had a tsunami which hit Hawaii. And I actually referenced that in the live stream just by memory. Like, I'm pretty sure there was a tsunami in 1952. There was. It was from this magnitude 9 earthquake that occurred almost the exact same location, same depth, same characteristics. So there are a lot of reports on that earthquake and then the associated wave heights for the tsunami. So we're going to go through that data while we wait. And then once the tsunami waves come in, once we're starting to watch it and they come in, I'm going to do a sound healing using a variety of different instruments. For example, tuning forks or my singing bowl. And we are going to pray to the Hawaiian gods that everyone is protected and safe, people, life, and more, because that is the least that we can do. I'm not in Hawaii, so I'm not at risk like the Hawaiians are right now. There's been sirens going off like crazy. Most everyone's been evacuated. We do see some people right now in the live stream on the beach. So I don't know what that person is doing. This is Maui. So we have some oddballs out there, but I think most people at this point have evacuated to higher ground, which is good. But let's look at some of our data. This is our latest feed. We're not seeing anything unusual yet. We first want to see that ocean recede and then some waves come in. And the thing with these tsunami waves is that they can be very long period, 10-15 minutes long. It's kind of a sustained push of energy. And these wave oscillations can last for days. That's the thing. They can last for days. So if you didn't watch the past live stream, you've been living under a rock the past few hours, hello and welcome. Again, I'm your host, Stefan Burns, geophysicist, space weatherman, and more. Just a curious person on this planet who tracks this stuff. We forecasted that there was a much higher potential for there to be a megaquake, magnitude 8.5 and greater, in this location 3 days ago on the 26th of July in a live stream. I have the timestamp and everything. So we've been tracking this. Like, this was not really that much of a surprise, though certainly seeing 8.8 on the volcano app and the earthquake app is like, holy cow, biggest earthquake in 14 years. But we see the location, the epicenter of this. Look at all the aftershocks we've been getting, tons and tons and tons of aftershocks. Likely not done. We are very likely due for a magnitude 7 plus aftershock in the next 48 hours. But here we see our magnitude 8.8 right there, the epicenter of that. And this created a very powerful tsunami. So we can go to our tsunami lab, just quickly check that out. I showed this in the last live stream, but there are probably new people here. So this is from today. They already put this in the simulator, and we can increase the speed a bit, and we'll see it hit the Hawaiian Islands. So this is coming in fast, around 500 miles per hour. At least that's what one of the subscribers said in the chat before I went live. That's probably accurate. But we see these waves coming in. The thing to note with these waves is that it's not like they just hit the side that's facing the epicenter of this earthquake and tsunami, right? It's not just going to hit the North Shore. They wrap around islands. So all the islands are affected. Hawaii, but also all of basically the Pacific Ocean is affected by this. But this tsunami alert is the most severe for Hawaii outside of the Aleutian Islands and parts of Eurasia right here, Kamchatka, Japan. Japan has already been hit by these waves. It has been quite severe. So here's our magnitude 8.8 event page according to for the USGS. And so it just has some stats. We see that it was at 23:24 Universal Time and the depth was 20.7 kilometers. Check the location right there, okay? This is our 8.8 today. Now I'm going to zoom over and check out the magnitude 9 that occurred back on November 4th, 1952. Almost the exact same location, almost the exact same magnitude, almost the exact same depth, 21.6 kilometers. So these two are nearly identical in all characteristics. And we have really good data on that magnitude 9 earthquake. This one was stronger, right? You go from 8.8 to 9, that is stronger, but overall pretty close. They're very, very much resonant together, you could say. So if we go to, before we look at some data, I just want to check our tsunami alert, get our most up-to-date data right now. Because this tsunami is coming in fast for Hawaii, so we don't have time to delay. And every single time I refresh this page, it is always failing to refresh. So we type in NOAA tsunami, and it'll pull right up. So we'll get our latest information right now from NOAA. Whoa, that's not the one. Here it is. Okay. So yes, tsunami warning still in effect, of course, and we have our reports here. Hawaii Watch Advisory number 6 is our latest. Let us go through it. We have a lot more gauge data. This is deep ocean, and so you'll notice the note right here. Let me scroll down. Note, DART measurements. These are the DART measurements. DART measurements are from deep ocean. They are generally smaller, much smaller than would be from coastal measurements at similar locations. So we're getting DART measurements of 1 foot and then 0.7 feet, 1 foot, 1 foot, 1 foot, 0.6, 1.1, 0.6, 0.93. So this is all across the Pacific Ocean, but deep ocean measurements. So if we're getting 1 foot amplitudes on the tsunami in deep ocean, it's going to be quite a bit higher once it comes into land. So that's why this is a very serious thing. The estimated arrival is 7:17 p.m. Hawaii Standard Time. That is just in 12 minutes now. We'll see how accurate that is. Let's just read through this again. I read through this in the last live stream, but let's do it again. A tsunami is a series of long ocean waves. Each individual wave crest can last 5 to 15 minutes. So it's not just like a breaker at the ocean, you're at the beach, right? You get tumbled around a little bit. This is a 5 to 15 minute long break like this. Very low frequency waves, very high amplitude, super destructive, especially if debris gets caught in there. And that magnitude 9, November 4th, 1952, caused an estimated $1 million in damage in 1952 dollars. So thankfully, no one was hurt from that. There were 0 lives lost. We're hoping for the same tonight. You know, that is what we are really hoping for. We're hoping for minimal damage, but it's almost the exact same characteristics. So we're likely to see a big push of water come into Hawaii on all sides, all the islands. The danger can continue for many hours after the initial wave as subsequent waves arrive. Extensive flooding in coastal areas can be expected. Tsunami wave heights cannot be determined, and the first wave may not be the largest. They wrap efficiently around islands. All shores are at risk no matter which direction they face. North, south, east, west, doesn't matter. The trough of a tsunami wave may temporarily expose the sea floor, but the area will quickly flood again. That's the ocean receding beforehand. Extremely strong and unusual nearshore currents can accompany tsunami. Debris picked up, carried, can amplify destructive power. Simultaneous high tides or high surf can significantly increase the tsunami hazard. We have high tide right now in Hawaii. Here's our latest data for Oahu. The tide height is 1.51 feet at 7:03 p.m. We see that here with our graphic. And so this is the 29th right there. There is that peak in the tide, and that is coupling to this tsunami. And so the two, it's called constructive interference. The two are going to combine together, making this much more of an impact than it would have been if it had happened at low tide. So this is significant. Now, let's go back and look quickly at our camera for Maui to make sure that it has not come in yet. It looks like we are still fine. Nothing's changed too much. This is up to date. Well, actually, maybe it's not. That's saying 7:01, and it is 7:08 p.m. right now. So let us refresh this. Here is our latest. Things are still looking about the same, so that is good. So let us spend a moment talking about the parallels between this magnitude 9 and the magnitude 8.8 that occurred today, because this is quite interesting. So we have this report here from way back when, and I had to zoom in quite a bit to get it. So this is the tsunami of November 4th, 1952, as recorded at tide stations. A lot of good data in here. And this is just like some notices and stuff, so we can get this set up nicely. And I'm actually going to set it up to the side right here, so I can stand over on this side. And we're going to look, they have data from all across the Pacific for this, but we're going to look specifically at the Hawaiian data because that's what we were finding interesting and what's valuable, okay? So at 1958 Greenwich time, November 4th, 1952, a series of sea waves is generated by a severe earthquake under the sea off the Kamchatka Peninsula. Oh, sounds basically like today. The seismic waves, also often called tidal waves, or now the Japanese term tsunami, was recorded by tide gauges throughout the Pacific. So this is the data that we have. Now here we can look, there's also a tsunami that hit Hawaii in 1946. This is 1952. Here are the maximum recorded rises or falls for Hawaii 1952. So for Honolulu, 4.4 feet. So to add that onto the high tide of 1.5, and we get about 6 feet. So, you know, a 6 foot wave, if you're out at the beach, isn't that big of a deal. North Shore gets some really big waves, for example, right? Much bigger than that, but these are sustained. So this can be a problem. Keep that in mind. This isn't, it's unlikely for this to be some like 30-foot monster. That we don't have data supporting that because we do have these tide gauges. But we should definitely be alert and cautious. Everyone on the island of Hawaii hopefully is already in a safe spot, evacuated the coastal areas. The sirens have been going off like crazy. I think they just turned off recently. But this 1952 earthquake, which was 0.2 magnitude bigger, a magnitude 9, generated a maximum wave height of 4.4, either height or trough, you know, peak or trough, 4.4 feet. So I think we could probably expect something similar. Now, maybe bigger, maybe smaller. We really don't know. But this is very, very similar in terms of the earthquake, and so the tsunami is probably similar as well. Similar is not exact. We'll see some other wave heights here. As you can see, it actually has some really high wave heights or troughs, like all the way down to Chile, for example. So Crescent City, really, really high. But we're talking about Hawaii here. And if we go down, we will see a bit more data. Let me pull it up. Here's another thing. Duration of the tsunami oscillations for Honolulu, 4 3/4 day. For Hilo, the same length of time, nearly 5 days, where you had alterations to the ocean tides and waves as a result of this tsunami. This is the magnitude 9 in 1952. So also for anyone living there, after the tsunami has passed, these ocean currents are still going to be different and they're going to be changed. So anyone that's in this tsunami advisory zone, please be careful if you go into the ocean after the tsunami has technically passed, because there are these oscillations that occur. And now let's look at those oscillations. And then we're going to go up and read some of these live reports before we go back to our live cam. So we need to go to page 27, which is right here. This is page 26, 27. Here we see our tide gauge record for Honolulu, okay? And if I zoom out, we can get the full graph here in this. And so this is for Honolulu. Check out what the tide was doing. Very small oscillations on top, and then massive, super high amplitude waves coming in like this, low frequency, right? Look at how long these are. This is in hours right there. So this right there is like 10 minutes, like 10-minute periods. But look how all of a sudden you have these big oscillations. So going down to 0 up to about 4.5. So that's the thing. It's also like this seesaw effect. And this is being added onto high tide. So this is absolutely crazy compared to normal conditions. And we also see similar conditions here for Hilo and the tide gauge there. This is again the 1952 data. So here were the conditions. The tide or the ocean was basically flat, wasn't really increasing or decreasing. All of a sudden, big, super long period, high amplitude oscillations of the ocean surface, these waves, and it's important to be very, very careful with that. Now, if we go up, let's just read some of the reports here. So people in Hawaii that may be watching this have an idea of what can be expected, or just if you're curious, you're watching this from other locations around the globe. So up here, we have our some of our information. And okay, so apparently not a single life was lost. Damage was remarkably light. A 13-foot wave knocked down telephone lines on Oahu, marooned automobiles and flooded yards. A farmer reported 6 cows killed in Honolulu Harbor. Waves tore a cement barge from moorings and hurled it against the freighter Hawaiian Packer. At Hilo, a $13,000 boathouse was demolished. 12-ton Coast Guard buoys were ripped loose from their moorings. The waves caused much excitement but little panic. Sightseers stampeded towards the beach instead of away from it. So that's not good. This is 1952. Hilo, Hawaii. Let's just get the good stuff here. The largest wave occurred, did considerable damage around the dock area. For a moment, I thought the tide house would go the wave, but fortunately, it is still up. Steep and it was the heights reached were much lower than in 1946, but instead of rolling in with a steep front and forceful impact, the November 4th wave was mostly a gentle rise of the water that can still be damaging. This is, again, 1952. We don't know what it's going to look like this time. But the water heights closely approach those of 1946. So, yeah, there was a lot of eyewitness reports for what happened back then. Let's go to our own eyewitness, live streams showing this. We have one here for Oahu. And as of right now, it looks like everything is still normal, which is good. It is 7:16 right now, p.m. local time Hawaii. This, again, is expected to come in 7:17, though that is not going to be 100% accurate. I'd be blown away if it was accurate to the minute. But that's a rough timeline for tsunami impact. And so we are now going to watch these live streams closely. Here we have one for the Big Island North Shore Pipeline, where we get really big waves for surfers. And it's a little dark, but we don't see anything abnormal here yet either. though it does look, it's starting to get dark there and it's looking a little stormy. So we are going to lose the light. I don't know how well these live streams, these views are going to be once the sun goes down, because it is sunset right now. So we can only really hope and pray that the Hawaiians are fine. And here is our view from Maui, which is a nice one. Let me again refresh this to get exact. It is 7:17 p.m. right now. And they also have a chat and everything. This is looking like it's receding a little bit, because I've been watching this for about 90 minutes now. I don't know, maybe that was just the waves going out. We don't know how big how big everything's going to like fall back and then push forward. It's really an unknown. But we are going to lose sight of this unless someone puts up a huge spotlight for either of these live streams. I think we're going to probably lose sight of the impact coming in. But it does seem to be behaving a little differently now based off of my watching of it. But it is high tide. This is combining with that. So this is definitely concerning. Hopefully it is very similar to what occurred in 1952, where it was just kind of this gradual increase. I mean, hopefully it's not even that. That still caused $1 million in damage in 1952 bucks. That's quite a lot now. But it's not billions. Yeah, this definitely seems to be kind of going out further now. Wouldn't you say? This, I don't know, maybe it's not, but it seems like the pullbacks are getting bigger and bigger each time. It's coming in very soon. It's coming in very soon. So, yeah, it looks like it's starting to recede a little bit, but nothing, super obvious. But based off of watching this, it seems maybe the pullbacks are just getting a little deeper each time. So, yeah, like right there, for example, that's just looking a little deeper than it was before. And it is, we just had that high tide, so it shouldn't be looking like that. But we'll just have to wait and see. I'm going to move over to another cam. Let's go to our Waikiki one. And so keep in mind that, if you have like a natural harbor, you'll be a little bit more protected. But in general, any location will be hit by this because it wraps around and it's like a overall water increase. So it's not super directional. It's more just a massive pulse of water like this traveling over an area. And Hawaii is actually fairly close to it all. So it doesn't look like it has not come in yet. This live stream is looking normal as well. And we may not even actually notice it. If this tsunami is minor, we may not even notice that the tsunami came in. That is certainly possible. So we'll just have to keep an eye on this. And while we wait, I'm not sure there was anything else that I really needed to cover for this in terms of data and updates. I guess we can go to our tsunami.gov once more. And yeah, every single time I try to reload it like that, it does not work. It's like really bizarre. So let's see if anything new. Oh, that's not the one. Well, I think it did reload. So let's see what our latest update is. I think it's the same one, advisory number 6. So yes, this is advisory number 6. I'm sure that once it hits, it will be a 7th advisory will be issued, but I think we are still waiting on the tsunami to hit Hawaii at this moment in time. Just reading through these messages here. But you'll notice that they don't put wave heights for some of the areas, right? Like here they have wave heights, Papua New Guinea, Fiji, Samoa, etc. But for California, it's just advisories because it's hard to guess. They don't want to put out a wave height that's too small, and then people don't take it seriously. It's a big deal. So if we just zoom in here on Hawaii, we'll see that they have it as a warning, which is the highest level. Except maybe, yeah, so international is this purple threat. But it's warning's the highest level. You don't want warning. And that's what all the Hawaiian Islands are under right now, is a tsunami warning. Um, and if we go to, this is probably our best live stream from Maui. See what this is doing. Our friends in the other live stream chat. And yeah, so I think now is the time for us to join together collectively, just to shine some light and hopefully ease these energies and make this a peaceful wave of water and energy to wash over the Hawaiian Islands, to not be destructive, to not cause any loss of life. That is what we are hoping for. We are hoping for a very minor impact, a very small wave, even though it is from a very big earthquake. So I would invite you to join me in performing this collective harmonization of the energies, to ask all-powerful God for his protection and blessing of all Hawaiians, people, life, plants, everything on the islands there we hope is protected. And we'll see if the tsunami comes in. But just because it's past 7:17 does not mean that the tsunami has already arrived. Again, that is just an estimate by NOAA. It would have been amazing if they were spot on with it to the minute. But we recognize the Hawaiian gods and goddesses. We invoke HAWAIIAN, the Hawaiian goddess of creation, who has given birth to the Hawaiian Islands. And we also evoke the Hawaiian god Kanaloa, who is the god of the oceans. And so to the two of them we pray. We ask you, Kamaloa, for your blessing, for a gentle impact, no damage or destruction, for your children on the islands. And HAWAIIAN, we ask that these vibrations coming in from this megaquake are those of peace and harmony, and that they stoke the creative fires in your children living on the islands rather than creating destruction and loss of life. For this we pray, together from around the world. We hold the center of peace and stability, presence, compassion, and understanding. Consciousness, we recognize that this is something that we can do. Instead of just consuming news and worrying about what's going to happen, we are co-creators in this universe, and we can influence the outcome of events through our combined coherence of consciousness applied intelligently. We pray for safety and protection for all Hawaiians and for everyone affected by this megaquake, the ground shaking and the tsunami. Russians, Alaskans, the Japanese, all those living across Southeast Asia, the Pacific, Guam, Samoa, Fiji, all the little islands that most of us are not aware of. Vanuatu, our friends down under, the Kiwis, everyone in Canada along the coast, Vancouver Island, Washington, Oregon, California, down to Baja, Central America, South America. We pray for peace, safety, and protection for everybody after this tremendous release of Earth energy, the strongest earthquake in 14 years, following the magnitude 9.1 that struck Japan March 11, 2011. Kanaloa, we give our thanks to you. We ask for safety. It is sunset now in the Hawaiian Islands, but as of right now, the tsunami either has not arrived or it has been a very minor impact. I'm not sure what this is. Is that a person? We have something there. We also have something there. It could be maybe like a bird, like a pelican maybe. I hope it's not a surfer. I hope they're buoys. I hope those are buoys. I want to repeat again, it is too soon to say that there is no tsunami. We don't know exactly when this is going to arrive. It isn't even 15 minutes after the expected arrival. So please do not just think the tsunami has arrived. Now is the time for us to hold together this energy of coherence, wishing everyone well that is being affected by this, and the Hawaiian Islands are under the greatest threat as it relates to the United States of America, other than like the Aleutian Islands. Let us switch our live stream and let's go to the North Shore. Let's see, this might not even be usable anymore. It may be too dark. Oh no, I think that looks quite good still, but we aren't seeing any significant changes yet, though. Yeah, I think these are all still normal waves. Everything still looks normal as it relates to wave activity, ocean height. Because again, it's not a wave that just breaks like this. It's a sustained push, just moving up and up and up the shore. But if it's a very small wave height, let's say it's only like a foot, it's not really going to be noticeable. If it's 5 feet, it's going to be noticeable. So the big question is, what is the maximum wave height of the tsunami? According to the magnitude 9 that occurred November 4th, 1952, that maximum displacement between peak to trough was about 5 feet. And it did go in, it created quite a bit of damage, flooded some areas. So that magnitude 9 in 1952 is nearly identical to the magnitude 8.8 megaquake that occurred today. And so I think I would put the highest probability on this tsunami being very similar to what occurred then. But it's not a guarantee. So this is the north shore of the Big Island, where they have the pipeline. This is a live stream for that for surfers, and we are not seeing anything yet that's concerning. Let's switch over to Waikiki, which is traveler's paradise, but the waves look different. The waves definitely look choppier. This sort of action I wasn't seeing. I've been watching this also for about 90 minutes, 2 hours now. This definitely looks different. Now we're getting some waves to come up. So maybe we're seeing our first impacts come in right now at this moment in time. It is possible that that is what we're seeing. I think we are. I think we're starting to see our first, I think we're seeing our first tsunami impacts right here. Haumea, Kanaloa, we ask for your blessing and protection. Yeah, this is definitely it. This is definitely the tsunami coming in. This looks significantly different than it did just an hour ago. It's just, much choppier. And it's just kind of like oscillating and reverberating. But still, as of this moment, it's thankfully nothing too concerning. But it takes time for these waves to come in. If you'll remember, as we've been talking about, the first wave is not always the biggest, and these wave periods are like 5 to 10 to 15 minutes. So you may have to get through 2 of those before the third wave perhaps is the highest amplitude, and that's the one that really hits. But we are unlikely to see anything similar to, extremely unlikely. I don't think there's any chance of us seeing anything like what happened in 2004 to Thailand and Indonesia. That was a massive tsunami. This is further out, and the wave heights aren't expected to be that big, but we still want to be very careful. So we pray for all the Hawaiians. We hold this coherent energy together collectively. There are 12,000 of us right now in the live stream. We hold this together, of this energy of safety and protection, not only for everyone living there, but all the life on the planet, all the life on the Hawaiian Islands. We use this as an opportunity to bring this into creation. Let's go back to Hawaii or Maui. Sun is setting. A little foreboding. Beautiful. Oh wow. So far, still looks normal with Maui, which is good. And it's 7:35 p.m. local time. I'm looking at the chat a little bit. I'm more focused on doing the presentation. Honolulu, Kauai. Japan is getting hammered. Okay, well, let us take a brief pause and switch over to Japan, I guess. So let's do this. And we want our filters to set for live. "13-foot high tsunami waves hit Russia and Japan." The thing is, so many people nowadays repurpose footage, so you don't know you don't know if these waves are actually coming in, like those are the waves, or whether it's like a video from 5 years ago. Maybe this is a good one. But I'm not seeing any good live streams of the yeah, I mean, these aren't looking especially problematic, so I'm not sure if that person was accurate or not. I think maybe they're seeing videos like this, which is an old video, so keep that in mind. So um, let's go back to Waikiki, because we were seeing the biggest waves here. And I felt like it started to come in at that point, but it still doesn't look that crazy, you could say. Um, yeah, and people in the chat are saying, wait, someone put a comment out. Check Kauai as the waves hit there first. Yeah, I'm not sure I can find one in time. Japan is fine. I'm seeing conflicting things. People saying Japan's fine. Other people saying Japan is literally like going nuts. Yeah. Yeah. So, yeah, I think some people are just a little too, this kind of like the scream. We're glad that this tsunami is lame. We are very glad that this tsunami is lame. And this is incorrect. Just because something's on the south side does not mean that it won't get hit. Tsunamis wrap around. Again, it's just like an overall increase in the water height. So hopefully it's reduced on the south side, this is away from the impact, but we can't, we don't want to put out that information and then people don't take it seriously, and then they do, perhaps, like in an alternate scenario, there's problems from that. So, and yeah, I think this maybe is exaggeration. 16-foot wave underway for Japan. I'm not sure that's accurate. I haven't seen anything about that. So we have to be mindful of false headlines, though. I mean, maybe. Yeah, so if this is the case, then this means that the tsunami has not come in yet, which it doesn't look like it has. I mean, it looks a little bit more agitated than it was like an hour ago, but as of right now, it does not look like it's come in, or if it has, it hasn't been that big of a deal. So, and first reports from Japan said it was small with no damage, but slowly built up. And someone's saying all the cams are getting smashed and crashing for Japan. So, yeah, and then someone else here saying nothing in Japan. So, now here's an interesting kind of formation with these waves here coming in. Huh. Not that one. The chat is very active. It's hard to keep up with it. Let's go back to our Maui feed. Let's check that. And things are still looking normal in Maui, which is good. And it is 7:41 p.m. there. So this is now, what, about 24 minutes after the expected arrival time of 7:17. So That does not mean that we are out of the woods. Maui looks gorgeous and expensive. I do actually have a friend in Kauai. I think he may still be there. He may have just flown back. I should have called him. Should have called him. I think he's back now from his trip. Yeah, this guy pumps things up big time. So just be mindful of that. And Lord Andrew, this shirt I'll be selling soon on earthevolution.com/store. Oh, this looks different. What is this? What the? Is this our tsunami? I don't know, but that looked like a different wave pattern, did it not, folks? I mean, maybe it's the light. Now that the light's going down, it's just maybe perhaps just looking different. But that looked odd. That looked bizarre. And I almost feel like there's a bigger rolling motion. See this like bigger rolling motion coming in? You see, again, the tsunami may not be that big of an impact. So this may, if those reports from Japan are correct, that started off slow and then built up, that would be similar. Yeah, this is definitely a different wave structure. This is a different wave structure. May or may not be the tsunami, but as that clock counts forward, we are only getting closer and closer to it. Because we saw the waves hit Kamchatka immediately afterwards. We've seen them hit Japan. There are reports of that. We know Hawaii's on the firing line. This is Maui. Let's go back to, before maybe it gets too dark, let's check out our live stream from the north shore of the Big Island and see what we have here. Now it's raining and they're on night vision mode. So I won't stay here long for people that are photosensitive, but yeah, it's too difficult to tell what's happening here. But looks fairly similar, but I think we can close that one out for now. And we can go back to our Waikiki one here. And actually, I think I'll have to, actually maybe up to date already. This is probably the one that will stick with in the long run because it has some lights on it. So this is still looking normal. This is still looking normal by the Waikiki Aquarium, but I think we're starting to see the very first waves come in. And Honolulu looks like it's receding on the Watch the Kauai feed. I'm not sure I can find one, but I'll try, okay? Let me see if I can get a Kauai live cam. Let's see what we got. Tsunami warning in Hawaii. KTVU. I'm not sure there is a live cam for Kauai. Yeah, I'm not sure there is. Um, so the second result has Kauai. Okay.
So it does take.
This is like a still image though. This is not active. This is just like a still image and they're talking.
Right. That is water.
Yeah, so I don't know what the heck is happening here. I gotta stop listening to you guys, to be honest. Let's just refresh this. Too many people that just say random stuff online. But maybe I'm wrong and there's a good Kauai live feed. There probably is somewhere. The one with 4 different feeds. Well, if it hits Kauai, it's going to hit all the islands like super soon afterwards because it travels like 500 miles per hour. So, and there's no reverb. This is the singing bowl that I'm playing. We're playing this to help balance the energies. Oh, okay, I see. Maybe there's reverb going that way. Okay, I understand. There shouldn't be. Yeah, there shouldn't be any reverb. The one you clicked on, it was the one, I swear. I don't believe you guys. Check back to Waikiki Cam. I should stop listening to you guys. Let's check back here. See what's happening in Waikiki. Okay. Trust no one. Yeah, I think that's... But most important is that we pray for the Hawaiians' safety, peace, and protection, for a very minimal tsunami impact, very low wave height, no destruction, no loss of life. Seems this may be a bit of a sneaky tsunami. Now, if this tsunami does not come in any forceful way, we are not going to claim credit for having stopped it because of the singing bowl and for the prayers. But certainly it's helping. which is why we do it. Yeah, the splashes are getting bigger. The splash, that's the biggest splash that we've seen. Now, occasionally, every now and then, you'll get something like that anyways, but definitely splashes are getting bigger. This is 144 hertz. Okay, I gotta remove some of these trolls. One 144 hertz. Usually I have a moderator in here, but I'm not sure my mods are here today. I only have 2 of them. It's hard to find good mods. So I guess it's the Wild West right now in this live chat. But we are seeing some bigger waves coming up. But nothing abnormal though. I mean, definitely nothing abnormal yet. But we're nearly at an hour. We're about 40 minutes past estimated time of arrival. Let's do that. Let's check our latest updates here. Hopefully it loads for us this time. We just had an insane super thanks come in from, just 1 second. Or maybe, well, yeah, from Iron Ma. I'm not sure that's 2 pounds and 49 cents or 249 pounds. I think it's 249 pounds. So thank you for the quid, my friend, and for the support. That's why we're here, to keep doing this, to work together in coherence and in resonance. We have a new advisory for the West Coast, watch number 7. Hawaii is still at watch number 6. Let's see what they put here. And again, almost all of these here, if you'll notice, all of these max tsunami heights are less than 1 foot expected. Only Crescent City is expected to have some bigger wave heights, and maybe that's because they naturally get bigger waves there. This is the forecast. It seems that this is going to be fairly accurate. Here's the observed, this is useful data. Here's the observed max tsunami height for these locations. So 0.8 feet in Alaska, 1.1 feet for Alaska, 1.4 for Alaska. All these Alaska ones are like around 1 foot or less. And then for parts of Russia, 0.2 feet. So it looks like that the max tsunami height observed is actually quite low for some of these locations that are really close to the epicenter. So it looks like we lucked out. It looks like we lucked out in terms of the tsunami, and that there isn't that big of a risk ahead of us, and it's not going to be similar to the tsunami that resulted from this magnitude 9 in 1952, which did cause about $1 million in damage in 1952 dollars for the islands of Hawaii. So it looks like maybe we have lucked out. um, that these wave heights here are strongly indicative of that, which is great news. So we'll watch the live cams a little bit more, but I think based off of this, I think we're probably good. But we're gonna watch them a little bit more. Yes, it helped. It definitely helped. So let us go back to our, and yeah, so what we've been seeing with some of these bigger splashes, that makes sense. Because an extra foot, let's give it a foot, an extra foot of wave height is going to lead to some bigger splashes, but nothing beyond that. And we did see some interesting wave pattern changes with the Maui live stream and also this one too. So it looks like it has hit, but it hasn't been anything significant, which is good news. And our moderator here is getting caught up on the trolls. Thank you, Michael. So, but it does seem that the tsunami alert has reduced down to hopefully not too much. We did see some videos with Russia where it really pushed in, but I guess it'd be good for me to show this on Google Earth. I don't have Google Earth open, so let me show it here. Now, if you get a 8.8 magnitude mega thrust, mega quake right there, you're going to get some big waves to push in right here, right? And those are the first videos that came out. So I'm assuming that is where that occurred, probably up here as well, and some of these islands as well. I think most of those videos for Japan were actually repurposed tsunami videos. There probably are some live videos coming in now as well, but some of the ones that immediately came out saying 20-foot wave or whatever, showing a lot of damage and stuff, that's just people capitalizing on opportunity and taking a tsunami video from 20 years ago or 5 years ago, whatever, from anywhere around the world and saying it's that location. That happens with every disaster. On YouTube, for example, there are live streams going saying Betelgeuse is exploding. Right now it's going supernova, but they run 24/7, 365. They're just hoping that someone sees it for the first time and thinks it's happening, and it's not. So there are people that do these sort of crappy things online, as we all know. But the wave heights observed across a lot of this region here was only about a foot, which is good because it should be really strong there. We had strong tsunami warnings put out by NOAA for the Aleutian Islands, and then it was more of an advisory down here, and it was a strong tsunami warning for Hawaii. Because you can look at the location. This is kind of a surefire, and in general, tsunamis don't really dissipate as they travel. There's a little bit of dissipation, but not much. So the thing is, like, if there's a strong tsunami here, could be a strong tsunami there. And we can't completely rule it out yet, but it looks like it's it looks like the risk of that has, the chance of that has gone down quite a bit. That's what it seems, which is good. But it's hard to be sure. If we had some real-time tide data, actually that would be what we want. If we had real-time tide gauge data. So let's type in real-time tide gauge data Hawaii and see what we're getting. I bet that exists. Hawaii. And if Kauai would be the first one to get hit. So, okay. Here it is, folks. We're starting to get some of these tsunami oscillations coming in. Look at this. We use a couple brain cells and we get some results. Ura. And thankfully this does not look that serious. Maybe I can zoom in further. It doesn't look like it. Let me try this. Here we go. Boom. Kamchatka. Shalaka. So yes, this tsunami is now hitting. Here is our tides for Hawaii, but specifically for Kauai, beautiful island I've not been to yet. And we're seeing these oscillations now. But let's put this into perspective. This is 0.5 feet. This is 2 feet right there. That zone right there is 2 feet. This is going down to 0.5 and it's going up to about 2.25 feet. So it is introducing waves that are bigger than the normal tidal flux per day, but it's not going up 10 feet or 15 feet, anything like that, thankfully. So we see the tsunami has come in. We can zoom in like this, and it's probably going to get stronger because these are only the first two waves. But hopefully not much stronger. It's unlikely to get that much stronger because if we go here, we had this data already from 1952. We looked at this earlier in the live stream. It is page 27 and 28 that we want. See these oscillations here? This is for Oahu. And the first 5, let's say, are the biggest. And then it died out. And then we go down to Hilo. The first one was the biggest, and then it died out. So if we're seeing these wave oscillations come into Kauai at that strength, we're probably pretty good. And it's unlikely to get dramatically stronger than that. So thank God, thank the Hawaiian gods. Let's look at our other stations. And let's choose Mokuloe. Wonder if I pronounced that right or not. And we're just starting to see it come into Oahu as well. It's just starting to come in. So this is our tide gauge data. And it's a similar scale here. 0.5. 2.5 feet, just starting to come in. So we'll watch this a little bit longer. And as a result of that, here's Maui. It's not going to have come into Maui yet, probably. Oh, no, actually, Maui is having a big increase in the wave height. This first wave is actually going up about, what is this? 4 feet, 4.5 feet? This is quite significant. Wow, okay. So at least this initial data is showing water levels have gone up 3.3 feet. 3.3 feet. Still not end of the world, but that is significant. Let's go to the Big Island. I'm glad we found this website. This website is the best. And let's plot. And the Big Island's just starting to get impact. So has not come in yet. Maybe it's coming at Hilo. Let's check it out. Has not yet come into Hilo. So Big Island is just right now at the beginning of this. Let's go back to our Maui live stream, see what's happening here. Because again, instead of 5 foot, like nearly 3 foot increase. So let's see what the heck is happening. It now is black and white. And it's roughly breaking in the same spot. Roughly. But we do know it's coming in according to that tide gauge data. Had to get some water. So it seems to be coming in pretty strong for Maui. So tsunami is coming in right now to the Hawaiian Islands. Hello, welcome everyone. If you've just jumped into the live stream or been here for a while but you haven't heard yet, I'm your host Stefan Burns, geologist, geophysicist, space weatherman, cosmic weatherman, and more. I release videos almost daily on what's happening with the Earth. We discuss earthquakes, geophysical energies, solar activity, space weather, planetary resonances, and more. We went in depth on all that in the earlier live stream, announcing the magnitude 8.8 megaquake, the strongest earthquake in 14 years, and one that I put out a forecast for. I put out a megaquake forecast. You know, I didn't say it was 100% going to occur, but we looked at zones of highest seismic risk for the current moment in time, and based on the earthquake swarm that was already happening at the Kamchatka Peninsula, I put out a forecast for that. There's a much higher potential there being a megaquake in that location. And well, 3 days later there was. So the receipts are on my YouTube channel. If you really want to like go back and you're new and you want to be like, is this guy serious? Like, did he actually forecast this? Like, to a pretty reasonable degree. In terms of giving you the exact time, the exact magnitude, the exact location, that's the holy grail, like down to the minute, down to the 0.1 magnitude, down to the epicenter location, but that is something that basically no one really has ever done. So to be able to give you a broader forecast of, hey, we're entering into a period of heightened seismic activity due to internal Earth dynamics and also due to space weather, that is what we do on the channel, and that's proven to be quite accurate. So now we're watching this tsunami come into Hawaii, and we are holding a space of presence, peace, protection, and safety for all Hawaiians, hoping that everyone is fine. This is the people there, all the pets, all the animals on the islands, the marine life. We hope that everyone is fine. So yeah, it's been a very busy day. We had a magnitude 6.6 deep earthquake in Fiji before the magnitude 8.8 megaquake. That was already a big earthquake, and then we had magnitude 6.9 aftershock, a magnitude 6.3 aftershock, dozens of magnitude 5s. We're waiting on a magnitude 7 plus aftershock now for Kamchatka. That could trigger another tsunami. Unlikely to be as significant as this tsunami, which so far hasn't been that bad, all things considered, but it is important to be mindful of this. Let's go back to Waikiki. And actually, before we do that, let's go back to our NOAA tides and currents here. We had the best data here for Kauai. So let's check out what's happening in Kauai. Yeah, it looks like these waves are getting a little taller, the tsunami waves. Let me refresh this even. That might have been the old data, but yeah, we can plot it. Nope, that is our latest up-to-date data for Kauai, which is the first island to get hit by the tsunami, but the oscillation is only about 2 feet for Kauai. Only about 2 feet, but it is stacked on top of high tide. So the tsunami is coming in, and if we go back to the Hawaiian Islands, and we go to Maui, was showing quite the impact. In Kahului Harbor. Again, I don't know how well I pronounce that, but here, yeah, so the impact for Maui is quite significant, folks. This is looking quite big for Maui. It went up from 2.1 to 5.34 feet, so that is a 3-foot gain. And then now it's dropped all the way to negative 2.35. So this is a 7.5, let's say, foot oscillation now with the tsunami impact. Typically the first 3 to 5 of these long period waves are the biggest. This is a nearly 8-foot difference between the peak and the trough. Again, it comes in the sustained manner. So this is quite significant. And yeah, so we're seeing this, and this is a good question. But HAWAIIAN is saying, but the beach looks the same. I'm confused. Maybe I'm being dumb. You're not dumb. I think this is a different location than the beach that we're seeing. So we'll keep an eye on that station there. Before we move on, though, let's just quickly look at Honolulu here. I think this is like Waikiki. And yeah, we're starting to see the tsunami come in. So the first few oscillations. So we'll keep track of this for a little bit longer until we can be kind of assured that things are quieting down. And then I'll leave you all. But don't worry, I'm not leaving you yet. But things are still looking normal in general for this live cam of Maui. In general, it's still looking normal. And then Cryptolution is asking, should we be worried about SoCal, Los Angeles? I personally don't think so. The expected wave height for California is all 1 foot, except for like Crescent City. So based off of what we're seeing in Hawaii, which is going to get much more strongly hit by this, I think California will be quite fine. But do your own research, take your own precautions. This is not disaster advice, but personally, I live close to the beach, but for my local area, I'm actually out of the tsunami hazard zone, and so I'm not worried about myself for this tsunami. I'm not in Hawaii. I wouldn't be worried if you're in Oregon or Washington, but again, do your own research, make your own decisions. Yeah, and the impact to California will be around 12:45 to 1 a.m. So we'll be late. And maybe I'll stay up for that to absorb these Earth tsunami energies. Probably go to sleep. I'll absorb it that way in my dreams. That's probably the best way to do it. So someone asked to see the singing bowl. This is the crown chakra crystal bowl here. And this is what I've been playing on and off in the background. It's not reverb. It's actually just this very nice healing frequency. And we've been praying to Haumeu and Kanaloa for their protection. Kanaloa is the god of the sea. Haumea is the goddess of creation of the Hawaiian Islands. She created the Hawaiian Islands. Together, these are the chief deities that you should be looking to for a tsunami, I would think, though I'm not an expert on Hawaiian mythology. And let's go back to our Waikiki. Let's see what's happening here. Yeah, some splashes, but nothing super troubling, I would say, which is good. Thankfully. Well, I am tired. Here's a good question, off topic a little bit, but how can someone believe in an omnipotent God and other deities at the same time? We are all just like expressions of God, including us. So my understanding of this is that God is all source, everything at once, but then everything else is a differentiated offshoot of that. So a deity may be more representative of God than just like you say Joe Schmo working at the liquor store, but fundamentally neither of them are God in its fullest expression. But they can both become God if they are able to enter into that universal resonance, which is what the yogis, endeavor to do, and reach samadhi and then actually nirvana, right? That's the whole idea of that. But it's not that you're believing a deity is like a different god. It is just one specific expression of God. So you have all the Hawaiian gods and goddesses, for example. And in this example, Kanaloa is the god of the sea. So he's God's more purposeful expression of the sea, whereas HAWAIIAN is the goddess of creation of the islands and more. She's one of the chief deities that gave birth to all the other gods and goddesses for the most part. And so she's a little bit more representative of God in that aspect, but not completely God. So that's just my belief system. But nothing here for Waikiki that's notable. Let's go back to our tidal gauge data, because this was showing us the most significant information currently available. Let's pull this up. And we actually have one here for Midway. Let's see what Midway shows. Okay, so here's the tidal gauge data for Midway and the tsunami. So again, nothing too spectacular. Going from a value of 1 foot for the tide, and then it went down to negative 0.69 feet, and then peaked up to 2.5. So about a 3-foot oscillation. This one here, this is high tide, so this is going on top of high tide. Interesting that a second peak came in, but none of this is abnormal or really dangerous. It definitely is a tsunami wave that has arrived, as you can see, but it's not 10 feet or 15 feet. So thankfully, our data from Midway shows that. There's probably a few more over here. Let's zoom around. We have, what's this guy? Wake Island? Let's check it out. Maybe it hasn't arrived in Wake Island yet, or I feel like this data is cut off, but either way. I should have arrived there before. This is what, Sand Island? Is that the one? That's Midway, that's what we just checked. But we can check one of these here. Adak. They've actually been having some earthquakes there. And here's the tsunami. So again, these oscillations, all within effectively normal ranges for Alaska. So this is very good news. This is incredibly good news. It looks like there's nothing too much to be concerned about. Yeah, we're looking at like maximum 3-4 feet oscillations. The biggest ones are actually for Maui, and for this location right here is that we're seeing some pretty big oscillations. Going up 1.53, that's a 3-foot oscillation. So thankfully, looks like things are in general fine. They are capital O-K-A-Y, okay. That's what it seems. That could change, but that's what it seems. We have the most data here for the Hawaiian Islands from Kauai. And so we see these oscillations here. Definitely different than normal, but seemingly fine. which is good. So I'm not sure. How well we'll actually be able to see a tsunami come in with one of these live streams, because I don't think these wave heights are significant enough to really show something crazy. But it is arriving. It is active right now. The tsunami is impacting the Hawaiian Islands right now. But our initial data does not suggest that it's going to be that big of an impact. And this is the initial data from Hawaii that we just looked at, and also the data that we have for the other locations that are closer, which give us a better sense of the more complete tsunami wave train, you could call it. There's nothing in that data from Midway that screamed danger. So that's really good. Yeah, and this is fake news right here. Because and maybe it has a very special shoreline, like it's very shallow, and so there was a big recede, but I just don't think, we had some people spamming that in the chat earlier, and yeah, I just don't think that's the case. So yeah. Question from Kid is, does the shape of the seabed as it approaches the coast affect the heights of the swell? It seems that a long, shallow approach could affect the magnitude. Yeah. And that's probably why we're seeing some differences between the different tidal gauge locations that we checked for the different islands, and also for like Midway and others. Certainly, if you have a really shallow drop off, then that wave height will be amplified. Whereas if it's like really deep and then all of a sudden you have the shoreline, it's not going to reach these big heights and swell up as much. But what's going to be the difference overall? It's hard to say. Okay, I had to take that guy out. These people are nuts. Some of these people are nuts. You love them all. Gotta love everyone. Here we have our tidal gauge data for Kahului, and we see pretty big oscillation, 1.6 to 2.1 to 5.3 feet. So it's like a 3-foot oscillation, and then drop down, negative 2.35. So there are some pretty big oscillations hitting certain locations, like this harbor in particular seems to be getting some bigger wave oscillations from the tsunami. This is Maui. But the rest of the locations seem to be fine. Again, we have more data here from Kauai. And again, doesn't look like there's anything to be too worried about. Now, just before I close, because at this point, I think it's a good time to close. If we again look at our data from Midway, which is closer, which has received more of the tsunami. Let me scroll down for you. We see that there are some anomalies within here, like this most recent peak in the gauge data. So we had this decrease, all of a sudden a new spike on top, but again, none of these values are excessive, anomalous, or dangerous. So it doesn't mean that you should just jump out into the ocean again and start swimming around if you're in an area where that's a possibility. Because again, it can change the ocean currents. So like if you're on the West Coast, anywhere in California don't go out for a night swim. Don't be one of these heroes or scuba diver. The ocean currents are going to be different. And these wave oscillations, as we discussed here, with this data from 1952, which was nearly identical earthquake, the wave oscillations last nearly 5 days. So as of right now, the tsunami impact for some of the places that we're tracking seems to be within reason and subdued, but these oscillations can continue. So if you live on the coast, I would definitely be cautious going out and, let's say, surfing around or swimming or any of these things, because just it's going to be a totally different sea environment. And so even if you know the sea very well, the currents are just going to be different. And just the whole frequency of the ocean is going to be different. So good to just be cautious, spend some time on land. No need to rush out into a chaotic situation, I would say, even though maybe the tsunami itself isn't that big of a deal. It does not seem to be the case. And we just had an insane super thanks come in from Jacob Reynolds. Thank you so much, brother. That's 500 buckaroos. So we have people stepping up all across the world. We stepped up here on this channel, performing the sound healing for peace and protection, for safety. Whether or not that helped, hey, you can make up your own mind, but it certainly didn't hurt. And it looks like the tsunami impact has come in quite subdued thus far. The Hawaiians will have to get through the rest of the night. We'll find out more as it continues on, but as of right now, it seems to be quite a bit weaker than expected. And our wave gauge data from Midway here, which is encompassing about 3 hours, is showing that so far things are fine. And typically the biggest waves are in the first hour. Though these oscillations can last 3, 4, 5 days. But the biggest oscillations for tsunami are typically in the first hour. So the fact that we already have like 3+ hours of data here for Midway, which is closer, that's why we have more data, is good. It got hit with the tsunami sooner. So thank you, Jacob, for your support of the channel. I'll keep on keeping on. This is your place to stay up to date with what is happening on Earth, geologically, and also geophysically, solar activity, space weather, planetary resonances, and more. We cover all that on the channel. We talked about this location here that was swarming after the magnitude 7.4 that struck on the 20th. There was unusual earthquake signatures that were occurring. I put out an update on the 26th. We looked at zones of highest seismic risk in the present moment, and we were talking about the fact that the risk of a megaquake was accelerating. This is all on the YouTube channel. I won't pull it up. I did on the last live stream. You can just go to my live tab if you want. But this is the first location that we looked at in terms of elevated risk of a megaquake, because we were long overdue. We had it happen today in this location. So that's what we do on the channel. I'm researching into this every single day and more. And that's the most important thing. So if you like the sound of that, if you want to stay updated with what is happening with the Earth energetically, also how that affects you physically, spiritually more, then this is the location. Please smash that like button. Please subscribe to the channel. Thank you all so much for your support in whichever way it has come in, whether it's just from you watching, whether it's from you sharing, commenting, liking, super thanks. There's a billion ways, going to the 2 different health and wellness stores that I have, which is www.earthevolution.com/store or www.wildfreeorganic.com/store. Herbal tea products are on the first one. Earthing shoes are on the second one. Anyone that's purchased from there knows that the products are the absolute best. Thank you for everyone that's supported in that way and more. I will continue to be here for all of you guys. I consider myself the messenger and even like the doctor of the earth. So this would not be possible without all of you. Just wanted to give you my appreciation once more again. I think that's very important to do. And we also just had Jacob give 50 memberships to the channel. So Jacob is on an absolute tear. And there are so many other super thanks in here as well. So thank you to everyone who has supported the channel today across time, even going back a few years. Thank you all so much. There's too much to show right now at this moment in time, but thankfully it looks like Hawaii is okay. I'll be back tomorrow with a comprehensive update on everything. And hopefully there's no more big earthquakes while we sleep. But there is a distinct high probability of there being a magnitude 7 plus aftershock within the next 72 hours. It could be a little bit later than that. It's probably within the next 48 hours. That's the most probable time zone. So that could happen. Like when I wake up, there may be a magnitude 7 plus waiting for me to report on. So I will be on it as soon as I can. That's my promise to you. Again, please take care of yourselves. Wishing all of you well. I'll see you all in the next video.